I first met Li Yin in the living room of my best friend Li Yin's house. He was sitting on the sofa, asking me in the tone of an elder brother caring for his sister, "Be honest with me. Has Yan had a boyfriend at school?" I shook my head. "No," he uttered a thoughtful "oh." His gaze locked onto mine, a playful smile flickering in his eyes. "What about you? Do you have a boyfriend?" In the back seat of the car, Li Yin's suit jacket was casually tossed aside. The top two buttons of his white shirt were undone, revealing sharp, defined collarbones. His usually cold peach-blossom eyes were clouded with desire. The corners reddened. He wrapped his arms tightly around my waist, tilted his head up, and his Adam's apple bobbed gently. "Yen-GEGE, this is school." I panicked, glancing at the students passing by outside the window, my hands pressing against his shoulders. A light laugh curved his delicate, handsome lips. He took my wrist and pressed a soft kiss to my skin, his voice low and coaxing. "Don't worry, I won't do anything. I just missed you." "Really? Really?" My tense nerves relaxed a little. I looped my arms around his neck and leaned into him. His large hand slid up my back and suddenly tightened. I stiffened, looking at him helplessly. "Yen-GEGE?" He curled his lips into a mischievous, triumphant smile. "Yen-GEGE or hard GEGE?" Li Yin was Li Yin's half-minus brother, and a total bad guy. We were freshmen in college when I first visited Yin's place on the weekend. We were playing video games in the living room when a deep, cold voice came from behind us. "Still playing? Don't you have schoolwork?" The voice was pleasant, but icy and irritable. Yin and I turned around together. A tall, sharply dressed man in a suit walked in holding a cigarette. Handsome and striking. "Bro, why are you home?" Yen immediately dropped the controller and trotted over, skillfully taking his coat and hanging it up. I realized at once this was the half-minus brother Yen always talked about. I stood up flustered, my voice trembling with nervousness. "Hello? Yen-GEGE." His cold gaze swept over me, and my heart tightened. I was a little scared of him. Yan had told me Hed always hated her, blaming her and her mother for driving his own mother away, bullying her relentlessly when they were kids. But when our eyes met, the frost in his eyes seemed to melt a little, and a faint smile tugged at his lips. "Your classmate?" he asked Yan, but his eyes stayed on me. "Yeah, this is Jing Tong, my best friend." Yan looked shocked and flattered. She had complained so many times that her brother never smiled at her. Li Yin nodded slightly at me in greeting, then sat down in the middle of the sofa. Yan hurried to the kitchen to prepare fruit. He began asking about our studies like an elder, his voice gentle but with an invisible distance. I sat stiffly on the other end, back straight, glancing anxiously toward the kitchen, silently begging Yan to come back. He stubbed out his cigarette, leaned slightly toward me, and lowered his voice, still looking at the kitchen. "Tong Tong, be honest with GEE. Has Yan had a boyfriend at school?" I shook my head quickly, my voice barely a whisper now. "Oh," he nodded thoughtfully, then spoke earnestly about his worries as an older brother. "Girls your age are easy to trick. Someone has to watch over who you date." I nodded, thinking Li Yin actually cared about Yen, nothing like what Shed described. Then his sharp eyes snapped back to me, holding me captive, amusement dancing in them. "What about you? Do you have a boyfriend?" My cheeks burned. He lowered my lashes. I don't either." He hummed softly and inched even closer. A faint cedar scent surrounded me. His beautiful dark eyes stared into my evasive ones, his voice turning husky. "Then, are you an adult?" Yan had mentioned Li Yin moved out after starting work and barely visited the main house. But after that day, he came back far more often. Almost every time I went to see Yan, I ran into him. Yan was overjoyed. She'd always envied girls with doting brothers, while hers only gave her cold stares and distance. She had tiptoed around him for years, afraid of angering him. But recently, he'd been much nicer. Sometimes he even gave us rides to school or took us out for drives on holidays. I started thinking Li Yin wasn't so bad after all. Then came Yan's birthday party. Li Yin drove us to the gate. Evie where her classmates were throwing her a party. After we got out, Yan turned to him hopefully. Her voice cautious. Bro, can you come in for a little while? Li Yin's arm rested lazily on the open car window. Already half minus ready to leave. He didn't even look at her, his tone indifferent. You kids had your fun. Who pass? Yan let out a disappointed oh. My heart ached for her. After spending time with him lately, I'd come to see him as a gentle big brother. I plucked up my courage. Yin minus GEGE just for a little while. Please. The air went still for a second. Li Yin froze, then finally turned his head. His deep eyes fixed on me, intrigued. He stared silently for a few seconds, a faint smile appearing. He pushed open the door and stepped out, his tall figure looming over us, sounding resigned. Fine. You two are impossible. Wow, Yan, is that your brother? H.E.S. so handsome. Bro, you're like a celebrity, even better. Yan beamed with pride, finally able to show off her brother. Li Yin was not only good minus looking but also a great singer. The girls crowded around him, chatting and toasting. Amid the noise, a senior walked over with a glass. Ding tong. Cheers. Thank you, senior. I clinked glasses with him and took a sip of juice. He sat down next to me and started talking. The music was loud, so he leaned in close, his lips almost touching my ear. He'd never been that close to a boy before. I felt uncomfortable and shifted away, but he didn't seem to notice and moved even closer. I froze, not knowing what to do. Then a lazy voice cut in. Kid. Li was standing by the booth, swirling a wine glass in his long fingers, looking down at the senior. The senior sat up straight at once. Bro, are you talking to me? Who else? Li Yin chuckled. His eyes flicked to me darkly. Then back to the senior, a cold smile forming. No point drinking with a little girl. Drink with me instead. He slid between me and the senior on the sofa, his arm casually wrapping around my shoulder. Tong, move over. I shifted half a step. His warm palm seemed to brush my shoulder lightly before he pulled away. The senior laughed awkwardly. Li Yin held his liquor well, drinking cup after cup without changing expression. The senior turned red from his ears to his neck and finally dropped his glass with a clatter. Tired already? Li Yin smiled and pushed the drunk senior back into the sofa. He turned to me, smelling of alcohol mixed with cedar, nice and warm. Tong. And before he could finish, Yan bounded over with 2 pieces of cake. Tong. Bro, have some. A flicker of annoyance crossed Li Yin's face. I don't like sticky stuff. But he took the plate and held it out to me gently. Tong, you like this, right? Tong loves it. Here, have both pieces. Yan set another slice in front of me and ran off to share cake with others. I took the cake quietly. How did you know I like this? Gege. Li Yin suddenly lifted my chin with his slender index finger. His eyes darkened, and he wiped a smudge of cream off my lip with his thumb. Because you're white and pretty, just like a fresh little cake. My heart thumped wildly. I bowed my head, embarrassed. Li Yin laughed and ruffled my hair. Just teasing. He left for the bathroom halfway through. As soon as he was gone, I pulled a gift box from my bag and snuck into the hallway. The wall lamp stretched my shadow long. When he came out, I took a deep breath and blocked his way. Li Yin paused. When he took the box from me, his Adam's apple bobbed almost invisibly. For me? I shook my head hurriedly. No, it's for Yan. I was flustered at the misunderstanding. If Yan gets a gift from you, she'll be really happy. Her brother had never liked her, never celebrated her birthday, never given her anything. As her best friend, I wanted her to be happy that day. But as I spoke, Li Yin's smile faded. He suddenly stepped forward, his shoe pressing against mine, trapping me against the wall. Why are you hiding? He placed one hand on the wall beside my head, his breath carrying alcohol fanning my face. Jeej did everything you asked. How are you going to repay me? I don't know. Then he lowered his head, his nose almost touching mine. Kiss G. Staring at his beautiful face, I held my breath, my fingers curling into his chest. I'd never kissed a boy before, but he was so handsome it didn't feel like a loss. Li Yin waited 3 seconds, then straightened up. If you don't want to. I grabbed his sleeve before I could think, but I chickened out when I met his playful gaze. I squeezed my eyes shut and pecked his cheek. Wrong. He pinched my waist and lifted me slightly, his thumb rubbing hard over my lips. Here. He bent down and kissed me on the lips. Light and quick. My eyes flew open. I saw tiny sparks in his eyes. He brushed my moist lip with his fingertip. Baby, have you ever kissed a boy before? I blushed furiously and shook my head, unable to look at him. He touched my hair, then my face, lifting my chin gently, his eyes warm and teasing. Don't be scared. Jeej will teach you. The next day, I regretted it. He'd kissed my best friend's brother. I didn't know whether to tell Yan or not. Worse, I couldn't stop thinking about Li Yin, about our time together. About that kiss. I couldn't focus in class and even got called out by the teacher. I'd never been scolded before. I felt ashamed and decided I couldn't go on like this. It was all Li Yin's fault. I was scared to face him. Had he only acted that way because he was drunk? When class ended, Yan came over. Tong Tong, come to my place after school. I got a new game, it's so fun. I avoided her eyes. I can't. My mom wants me home for dinner. Yan looked disappointed. I avoided Yan's house for weeks, too nervous to face either of them. Then one day at break, Yan ran over with a dessert bag cheering. Tong Tong, my bro bought these for us to share. I froze. Your brother's here? Yeah, he was on a business trip and stopped by to see me. Business trip? None. I'll be gone for days. She laid out the pastries. My heart softened when I saw them. Every single one was my favorite from that famous shop. Yan huffed playfully. She is so biased. All your favorites. I wondered when Li Yin had memorized my preferences. Yan munched on a cake and elbowed me. Ever since you came around, my bra's totally changed. She is so much nicer to me. You're my lucky star. I smiled shyly. She blinked at me, her voice softening. You haven't come over in forever. Come after school, please. I hesitated, then remembered she said Li Yin was away on business. Looking at her hopeful face, I nodded. Okay. Kimmy walked out of the school gate. A crowd had gathered around a sheeny Maserati. We squeezed closer and saw a man leaning against the car. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, crisp white shirt, sunglasses covering most of his face. Only his sharp jawline visible. He held a cigarette, chatting politely with bold female students. It was Li Yin. He seemed to sense my gaze, locked onto me through the crowd, stubbed out his cigarette, and walked straight over. Bro? Yan stared in surprise. I thought you were on a business trip. Canceled last minute. His eyes flicked toward me. Yan lit up. You came to pick me up. Li Yin glanced at me and said calmly. Yeah? Yan grabbed my arm excitedly. Great. Tong Tong just agreed to come over. My heart raced. If I backed out now, HED had been avoiding him. I sighed inwardly and forced a smile. Li Yin's lips curved into a triumphant smile almost at the same time. Before I could react, he naturally took my backpack from me. Here. Tachi, this. He hesitated, then took Yina's bag too, and opened the back door. Kitten. I sat stiffly in the back seat, twisting the hem of my skirt. Every time I thought about that kiss, my heart hammered. But when I peeked at him in the rearview mirror, he looked relaxed behind the wheel, acting as if nothing had happened. Had he really forgotten because he was drunk? Yan was bolder now that Li Yin was nicer. She chatted with him casually. Bro, why are you off work so early? I'm the boss. I come and go as I please. The car went quiet. Then he spoke suddenly, staring at me in the mirror. Tong Tong. What do you want to eat tonight? I held my breath and looked down. Anything is fine. Back at the villa, Li Yin cooked dinner himself, changing into an apron. When he set the dishes on the table, my heart skipped. Nearly everything was my favorite. How did he know? Was it just a coincidence? After eating, he played games with us for a while. The atmosphere was nice until night fell. I stayed over as usual. Way in bed, almost asleep, when my phone lit up with a friend request. No note, just 2 cold words. Come downstairs. My heart skipped. I knew exactly who it was. How had he gotten my WeChat? I held my breath and hid the phone under my pillow, pretending I didn't see it. Another message popped up. Should I'm upstairs to get you. Or will you come down? I quickly accepted the request and typed OK Yin minus GE say. 5 minutes later, another text came. I panicked. If he came up, how would I explain to Yan? I slipped out of bed quietly, tiptoeing downstairs. The living room was dark. A figure leaned lazily on the sofa, moonlight outlining his handsome profile. Li Yin held a cigarette, blew out smoke, and looked at me. He stubbed it out and crooked his finger at me. Lazy, but commanding. Come here. I walked over. He looked up at me, his eyes drifting from my face down to my hands. A cool tobacco minus scented hand covered mine, holding my curled fingers. Why have you been avoiding me? I tried to pull away, but he held on tighter. You lied to Yan about the business trip. He chuckled low in his throat. If I didn't, would I ever get to see you again? I bowed my head, not daring to look at him. He pulled me to sit beside him. Come here. Jeej has something for you. He pulled out a velvet box and placed it on my lap. I opened it and gasped. Inside was Heart of the Ocean, the final masterpiece by my favorite Italian artist rare, exhibited only 1 day a month. Nearly impossible to own. Li Yin had bought it. He smiled, his voice soft. Do you like it? Without thinking, I said yes. He leaned closer, his breath warm. Then do you like Shuiji? I snapped back to my senses, blushing from my cheeks to my ears. The question was too embarrassing. I looked away, changing the subject. How did you know I love this? I know everything about you. He held my hand, his thumb stroking my skin, pressing me for an answer. Be good. Tell me, do you like J.E.J.? I stared at his perfect face. He was handsome, gentle, thoughtful. Few girls could resist him. But the words were too hard to say. He had never told anyone I liked them. Li Yin's gaze darkened as it drifted lower. I froze, remembering I was wearing a bra. Embarrassment flooded me. I tried to shrink back, but he held me firmly. His hot breath fanned my skin. He lowered his head and kissed my hand softly, then looked up, his eyes dark with desire. If you don't say anything, you will take it as a yes. He held the back of my head and kissed me deeply, possessive and urgent. He pushed the box aside carelessly and pulled me onto his lap. The kiss stole my breath. I pushed against his chest, but he pinned my wrists around his neck and kissed me deeper. I went weak in his arms. He chuckled huskily. Good girl, do you like this? Yin minus GEG, I could barely speak. He laid me on the sofa and leaned over me. I trembled. Don't yin us upstairs. His eyes were reddened, his voice burning. Then should GEGE take you to a hotel? He kept kissing me, his hands moving up my shirt. I'd never been this intimate with anyone. Shame and panic washed over me, and tears fell. Li Yin tasted salt on my lips and froze. The desire in his eyes faded, replaced by worry. Did I scare you? I sobbed. He panicked, wiping my tears. I'm an idiot. Don't cry, baby. He kissed my forehead and carried me back to the room. After that, we started dating secretly, hiding it from Yan. I was scared she'd be angry that I'd stolen her brother. Back in the car, Li Yin looked up at me, wiping the tears from my eyes. Baby, thought you feel bad for GEGE. He held the back of my head. You remember what GEG taught you. 40 minutes later, Li Yin helped me fix my clothes and teeth, still shy after so many times. My face burned even hotter, he laughed. Good minus skin does a little cake. You're the little cake. He leaned in with a mischievous grin. Which is better, the cake or GEGE? I'm not talking to you. I hurried out of the car. Li Yin got out calmly. Just then Yan called bro. Ton. He ran over with textbooks, confused. Bro, what are you doing here? Li Yin straightened his tie casually. Came to see you. Ran into Tong. He pulled two dessert bags from the front seat, giving one to Yan and one to me. Bought them on the way. I have to go back to the company. I'll pick you up tonight. He got in the car and waved. As Yan looked down at her dessert, he blew me a quiet kiss. I cursed him inwardly. Such a bad guy. I rested my head on my desk, smiling just thinking about Li Yin. What are you daydreaming about? Yan asked. N minus nothing. Yan squinted at me. Tong, are you in love? My face turned bright red. I buried my head in my arms, afraid she'd see. I hadn't figured out how to tell her. Luckily, she didn't push it. She sighed. Speaking of dating, my bra's going on a blind date today. Shut up. What? Yen jumped. He texted me he has plans tonight and will send a driver for us. Dad told me he set him up with a friend's daughter. Bra's almost 30, you know. I checked my phone. Sure enough, Li Yin had messaged Demi half an hour ago. Baby, GEE has something tonight. Go home with Yan first. Miss me. My chest felt tight. HED never given me a real promise. Most of the time we were together, we were just being intimate. He never talked about the future, never even confessed properly. Was he ready to marry? I was still in college. Was he seeing someone else? What was I to him? My heart ached. I hid in the bathroom and called him. His warm voice came through. What's wrong, baby? Yin minus G-E-G-E, will you marry me? He paused and laughed. Silly girl, what's gotten into you? A woman's voice sounded in the background. Hey minus Yin, there's a seat over here. Li Yin's tone cooled. G-E-G-E-S out. You'll talk when I get back, okay? Hey minus Yin, who are you talking to? My sister. Sister. I hung up abruptly and blocked his number. I went home after school, pretended to be sick, and skipped class for days. I didn't see Li Yin at all. Heartbreak hurt worse than I imagined. Maybe it was never real love, just a fling to him. That night, I lay in bed after showering, trying not to think about him. But he filled my mind. It'd fallen for my best friend's brother, and my first crush was a player. Li Yin, I hate you, you jerk. Huh. You pervert. I yelled into the air. How am I a jerk? A cold voice made me jump. I sat up and saw a figure by my window. Thief! I scrambled to the corner, hugging my blanket. The figure stepped closer, and I saw it was Li Yin. How did you get in here? You wouldn't see me, so I had to find a way. He approached me, his eyes dark. I turned my head angrily, refusing to look. He tore the blanket away, knelt between my legs, and forced my face up. Why are you avoiding me again? Speak. I was so scared I burst into tears. He froze and softened immediately. Okay. G-E-G-E-S, sorry. Tell me what I did wrong. He pulled me into his arms, his breath warm by my ear. I'm going crazy without you. Get away, I don't want to. You went on a blind date, why are you here? I hit his chest, but he grabbed my wrists. Is that what this is about? He laughed. She's my dad's friend's daughter. He arranged it without asking. I couldn't just stand her up. I already told her I'm not interested. I just didn't have time to explain. He tapped my nose. And what's this about not marrying you? I mumbled, you said you wouldn't. He smiled. I said you were being silly. Who else would I marry? He pulled out a small velvet box and flipped it open. A diamond ring inside. He took my hand, his lashes trembling. I've had this for a while. I was saving it for a proper proposal. But can I put it on you now, baby? My heart raced, my ears burning. Was she proposing? Yin minus G-E-G-E, I do. Li Yin slid the ring on my finger. Even he, always calm and in control, was shaking slightly. He kissed me, his voice low and charming. Baby, is this okay? I blushed furiously. He grinned mischievously. Good. Now sit up properly. The next day, Li Yin brought expensive gifts to meet my parents. His dad chatted enthusiastically with mine about our engagement. Li Yin was in a hurry, but my parents loved him. He was perfect in every way. Yan stared at us, wide mine aside. I knew my bro was acting weird. Driving me around, taking me out, he was just chasing you, Tong Tong. She laughed. I was just a third wheel. Well, bro, you're something else. Say that again. Li Yin raised an eyebrow. We all laughed.